Is good, everyone. This is your host, Deanna Radulescu with Label Free. To live your best life, you must live label free. As always, I'm back with another incredible guest, so sit back, relax, and tune in. My next guest is a mindset coach. He's the founder of Learn to Love Being You. Please welcome Mike Wood. Mike, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Deanna. Thank you for having me on your show. Before we get going too fast, I just want to ask all your listeners to stop and do the same thing I did over this weekend. Give you a five-star rating. Like, go and give her a five-star rating. She is
Oh,
absolutely killing it out here. She's doing the real work and bringing awareness to mental health and trying to just make people's lives better. And it's powerful work, and we need more people doing the same thing.
thank you. I wasn't expecting that. I thought you were like telling people to give themselves a 5-star review. So thank you for that.
No, you deserve it.
But I love that. I think we should all give ourselves a 5-star review. You know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely. We need to be loving ourselves as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, that kind of goes hand in hand with Learn to Love Being You. I love the name of your business, your website. Like, where did
Yeah,
that come from? Like, where did this spring off from? Because there's always a story, right? And I love to hear those
yeah.
stories of what brought you to where you're at today.
So, 35 years of anxiety and depression, and then, thinking that the next thing was going to make me happy, and
Yeah.
it never did. Finding the right job, finding the right woman, finding making more money than I really need. Reaching every one of these goals and realizing that I was still miserable. And, I stopped looking outside for, the success and turned to focus inward. That's a common story with a lot of folks. And that's mine as well. And, you know, that's where I really found peace. At 45 years old, I told my boss and good friend that I was going to quiet my mind by any means necessary. And
Yeah,
I meant it. And I was in a really dark place, but
sure.
7 years later, and life doesn't look anything like
That's
it
am
did before.
that's amazing. But I think what is different for you is that you took responsibility for it.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah,
I think a lot of people want to point the finger, and like you said, on the outside, they're not really dealing with the stuff that's on the inside. And even in today's
yeah,
world, when we have so many resources at our fingertips and so many YouTubes, podcasts, like all the things, it's just like people. There's so many people out there that still are lost and they don't get it. Like you gotta stop pointing the finger and you gotta start doing like, look
yeah.
at this, look at me, what's going on here.
Exactly. Taking ownership of the problem, not pointing any blame, not casting any judgment. Looking and see how you're factoring into this equation.
Was that hard for you to do?
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie, yeah, it is. And the more I dug in and I found some short-term peace, just with meditation and some different practices, going to Tony Robbins and some other things.
Yeah,
But the very difficult part is doing the inner healing work that makes the noise in our brain turn off. We all have that inner voice that's kind of negative and kind of runs, but I created this program essentially off of this journey, this healing journey I went to. But the part of it that was so enlightening for me, I just felt like I had to scream it to the world, was being able to go back and rewrite the negative core beliefs that are really running our lives. We create all
yeah.
this stuff that programs our subconscious mind to run in a certain way. And it leaves us, people are feeling trapped and they're feeling hopeless because their mind is telling them that they're worthless and they're unlovable and they're not smart enough. You're not good enough to do this. You're not worthy of that. And we're looking for, a relief in some
Yeah.
way, shape, or form. And we just we don't know where to find it.
So how long did it take you to really, and we'll get into what you're coaching and how you've created a program for people that you work with, but how long did it take you to really kind of change the narrative and take control of those of that cyclical behavior or thought process that was holding you back and keeping you in depression and anxiety?
So, the it took me it probably took me a good 2 years before I really started to take a hold of it.
Yeah.
But it was a lot of trial and error. I was a
Sure.
basically human science experiment. I've got it down to a bit of a science now. And within 3 weeks, like people are getting off of anxiety meds. People are, yes, like you don't need anxiety meds to make this thing calm down. You can take control of it on your own. But depression is different. Depression is a longer term deal. So like I still do the same work that I advise everybody to do for depression, because we have two parts of the human, right? There is this this part that wants to expand
Yeah.
and grow and take over, uh, do something new, create something. Like we are ever expanding, and that's we're yearning for that, to find the right partner, to grow, to build a business. But then there's this other part, and it's the subconscious mind, and it's part of us. It's trying to protect us, but it wants to keep us safe. And
Yeah.
so it wants to keep us small. It wants to keep us protected. It wants to keep us from reaching out and putting ourselves out there in a way that is going to risk embarrassment or feeling stupid or feeling the way that we felt as a child. And that's usually what it's trying to do. It's protecting us from an old core belief that was created when we were young, and it's trying to keep us from repeating those same those painful feelings that we felt as a young kid. And so those two things are polar opposites. They're
Yeah.
battling each other, and that's what's causing most of the pain inside of us. Because if the subconscious mind was just trying to keep us safe, and we were okay staying safe in our house and never leaving, it would probably be easy to just fall in line with the subconscious mind and stay safe. But we want to grow. We want to find that relationship.
Well,
We
we hope
want to
so.
build.
We hope most of us
Yeah.
want to grow.
But I mean, there's a yearning inside all of us, that we want that stuff. And when at polar opposites, it creates this tension. And what we could do is teach the subconscious mind how to feel safe at
Yeah.
all times. And when we learn how the subconscious mind works, learn how to keep yourself from going into that fight or flight stage, then all of a sudden now we could operate at a much higher level and bring those two things into synchronicity instead of having them fight each other.
Yeah. And I've said this before, probably not for a long time, but I used to be in martial arts, and my sensei would say people fall in love with comfortable, whether good, bad, or
Yes.
indifferent. We fall in love with what's comfortable because doing that
Yeah.
work and learning how to heal is uncomfortable. It changes the narrative which you've already gotten accustomed to, right? And so
Mhm.
I think a lot of people become lazy, even though they're complaining like, "Oh, I'm anxious, I got depression," but to do the work and to really become uncomfortable to where you can be comfortable in a healthy way is
Yeah.
challenging.
It's very challenging. You have to. Ram Dass said it very well in some of his videos. He said if he would always ask somebody before he would work with somebody, and he would always say, "Are you ready to get rid of what's ready to stop holding on to what's causing you pain?" And because we're holding on to everything that is
Oh
causing
yeah.
us pain.
Yeah, it's a interesting dynamic. Like we don't want to be in pain. We'll cry and we say we're tired of it, but yet we can't seem to let it go.
Yeah. And I'll tell you this: the people that out there that are listening to this that are suffering, and they got the endless loop of you're not broken.
Yeah.
You know, this stuff is you're not broken. You just don't understand how your system is operating. And we could bring relief to that with simple tools, and then understanding, work through a handful of exercises and things that create experiences. Because I could sit here all day long and I could tell everybody everything, and unless you physically experience things, it's not going to create a knowing. Because we can work off of beliefs all day long, and beliefs don't get us anywhere. But when you
Yeah.
go through an experience and it creates a knowing, something changes inside. The system gets reprogrammed. And I've built a program, a 10-week program that literally stacks knowing on top of knowing on top of knowing through experiences. And really, that's what we need to be able to do. Simple gratitude practices. When you do it over and over every day, it shifts the chemicals in your brain. And all of a sudden, you're getting to experience a knowing that when I changed the thoughts in my head. 2 minutes later, I'm producing cortisol and I feel good for no reason. Well, wait a
Yeah.
minute. I actually feel good because of cortisol. I'm shifting the drugs in my brain based on the content of my thoughts. Okay, well, if I can do it with gratitude, I can do it with anything. And it starts to build. Um, and then you learn over time how to take control, and anyone can do it. You are not broken. If you were listening to this, anybody can do this work.
Yeah, I saw the video on your website and kind of how you go talk through your 10-week program, which I think is great. Can you kind of give us a success story of one of your clients that you've coached, maybe like where they were and like how
Mm-hmm.
like what you took them through to get them to the other side? Because I feel like I have plenty of people in my family that suffer with anxiety and depression, and it's like they
Mm-hmm.
want to stay in that loop. They want to
Yep.
stay in that loop. And it's like no matter you could talk to them, like you said, until you're blue in the face, you can try to give them all the tools and the resources, but it's like not until that person actually decides that they want to make a change that it actually happens for them. And
Yep.
not to say that it goes away 100%, but you learn and you create new habits to prevent that loop from happening over and over and over again.
Yep. So I'll tell you about the very first person who ever went through my program. All right.
Okay.
Her name is Keely Walker. She does not have one problem with me talking about her
Okay, great.
because it is an absolute success story. So 2 years prior to her coming on, because she was in her early 20s, like 21, 22 years old,
Wow, young.
she had been suffering with anxiety through the roof, right? Her anxiety started in dance when she was in high school. And she was taking 3 pills a day with the highest form doses that she could get because she would feel panic attacks coming on and she would have to take them and then they would numb her. And then when the pills would wear off, she would feel another panic attack coming on and she would take another one. A
Whoa.
week and a half into the program, we teach people how to manually take control of your body and your system. You had to calm it down manually. And she stopped taking her anxiety meds a week and a half into the program. She went through the program and did it at a level that I hadn't done myself. Like I had to look at myself and go, all right, Mike, you got to go back and do some of this because she
Yeah.
just kicked my butt and made me look bad. So she took the program to the T, right? And she went all the way through the program. She was a young girl that had gotten laid off from one job and just landed another one just by chance. And her life was kind of struggling with between anxiety and what her job was doing. She's gone through this entire program. She dealt with old trauma from old boyfriends, from childhood stuff. She faced every fear head on. She removed attachments. She forgave ex-boyfriends. Forgave family members. She took all the work as seriously as possible. Gets to the end of it, and what happens when you take care of your mind, your body starts to respond well, right?
Yep.
So she's always had body issues, and all of a sudden she starts walking at work at her desk, and and she ends up with very little effort. She loses about 30 pounds.
Wow.
She uh, she ends up finding the love of her life. She's engaged to be married now, and she's got her dream job as a safety coordinator. Got all the certifications. Went through about a year of training. Got certifications. Her entire life shifted in a matter of 10 weeks and continued on the work. She still does the work today. It's part
Yep.
of her routine, her daily routine. But her life went from getting laid off, being struggling to find a job, dealing with anxiety, and 10 weeks later, she is, well, 2 years later, because it's been 2 years since she took
Sure.
the program. Her entire life is transformed. And she's shouting from the rooftops and ready to share her story with anybody that will listen. And that to me is the most amazing part of what I do. I love that you asked that question because I love telling these type of stories, and there's so many more. She's not the only one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for being so young, she kind of took the bull by the horns, right? How'd she find you?
Yeah. Through work, through
Oh,
through
okay.
work. Yep. Yep.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah. It's absolutely amazing. It's the kind of universe kind of just brought her and about six other people to me when I was building this program, and they helped me form it. They helped me shape it in a way that it is today. They were almost like the first seven were like my test dummies, so to
Yeah.
speak. And they did it with compassion. They had a lot of trust in me, and we kind of went through all of these things together. And I rearranged weeks, and it just became more and more. It evolved as they went through it, and um, yeah, I owe a lot to that first seven that took this program, and
It's amazing.
their lives are all changed, and it's helped them thus change other people's lives as
Sure.
well.
Were they all on medication?
No, two of the first seven were on anxiety medications, and they both had the exact same results. Both of them were off of it within the first week and a half,
Amazing.
and it's been 2 years, and both of them are off of it.
I love that. I'm not a fan of like prescriptions. Like I think that that's something that we should not. There are so many other options out there besides taking something to numb your body yourself. Because if you're always being numb, when are you ever going to deal with the real problem, right? Because
Yeah,
there's something deeper there that's going on that you need to really kind of take notice to. And so I just love that you got them off medication. That's amazing.
yeah. I think there's a famous quote that says, "Don't rob somebody of their pain because their pain is trying to show them something that they can't see." And the
Yeah,
medication is definitely robbing people of the pain that they need to be. They can make that change because, like you said about your friends and your family, like you try to show people, but until they're ready, they're not going to do anything. And
yep,
so I think that pain sometimes, if it goes medicated, they're still not ready. And but that pain, if it goes unmedicated, the pain can get to a level where they're like, okay, I'm done.
sure.
Kind of like I was. I was ready to quiet my mind by any means necessary. And it when I say that, I don't say that lightly. I had to just be so sick and tired that I'm willing to just look myself in the mirror and say, all right, what are you doing wrong?
Yeah.
And and then that's where the ability to actually take action and change comes from.
And so, you've been doing this 2 years now. Who is I mean, aside from the depression and the anxiety, who is your ideal client or person that you would work with to help them heal?
Honestly, females from 18 to 35 seem to be the most receptive,
Oh,
because for whatever reason, they're attracted to it a little bit more, the little
sure.
more open. Men, commit suicide at 4 times the rate of women, and I think men are a little less likely to speak up and say that they're even hurting. So like people that reach out to me and actually get involved, it's a 8-to-1 ratio. Women
Wow.
are much more open to the process than men are. And then even when I get men into the process, the success rate is different because they men will go through some of this stuff and then they'll kind of shy away because of some of the nature. And I don't necessarily understand all of it, even though I am a man who's faced some of this stuff, but men have just not been taught to open up and
Yeah.
and and get in touch with their feelings. It's not manly. It's considered weak in society, and we got to break some of those walls down as men and set the example that it's okay to you know work
Be
through this stuff.
vulnerable. It's okay to be
Yeah,
vulnerable. That's not a weakness. It's actually a strength. I would agree with you there. I was going to ask you a question. Do you feel that most people believe that they're born with depression and anxiety or something that is learned over time?
well, I believe that people are. It's learned over time. I
Sure.
would. That's my. I would hang my hat on that and bet a lot of money that that's how it is. Um,
Yeah, but
and the reason I said,
people have a belief system that, oh, I was born like this, instead of saying,
yeah,
oh, I can fix it. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, they absolutely do. But I just think they're not ready to face the problem yet. They're not ready to heal, unfortunately.
Yeah.
When I first learned so a lot of this stuff myself, I had so much compassion because I started to see pain in everyone else. When I started rewriting the core beliefs and realizing what it truly means to release myself from this old negative dialogue that was formed when I was 5 or 6 years old, and then I free myself from one, and then another, and then another, and I get 50 into this process. I start looking around and I'm like seeing when people are getting triggered over this and people are getting triggered over that. I can look at them and I know exactly where it's coming from. I don't even have to ask. It's a it's an it's an automatic response. People are living on autopilot,
Yeah.
and that autopilot is a program created by that subconscious mind.
Yeah.
We drive on autopilot, we walk, we eat. We do 90%. Science will tell us that we're living our lives 95% on autopilot. And the goal to fix that is to wake up, to be
Yeah.
honest, and wake up.
Yeah. This is a whole nother conversation, but what you just said kind of triggered that idea of emotional intelligence, right? And I think that
Mm-hmm.
there's so many people that lack that, and that's why it's so quick to put a label on our feelings, anxiety and depression, instead of saying, I need to really reteach myself and become a little bit more emotionally aware of what's happening inside me so that I can fix the root problem. But that's a whole nother conversation. Where can people find you, Mike, connect with you, and learn how to work with you?
So you can find me at learntolovebeing.you.com. And that's the easiest way, but you can also get me on my email, Mike at
Okay.
learntolovebeing.you.com. Happy for you to reach out to me either way.
Do you have any social media you'd like to let people
Yeah, I got
know?
I have a uh, YouTube account, Learn to
Okay.
Love Being You. You should be able to find me on all three of these with the same tagline: Learn to Love Being You. On YouTube, link, LinkedIn, you can find me at Michael Wood, and
Okay.
then Instagram, Learn to Love Being You. I think it's
Perfect.
Learn to Love Being You one.
Excellent. I'm going to put these links in the show notes. So, you guys, if you connected with Mike and what he is offering you to help you live a better quality of life without anxiety and depression, do not hesitate to go give him a follow on his socials and send him an email and check out his website. He's got a great video on there that kind of goes through his process a little bit more. So, if you still are questioning it, it gives you a little bit more guidance on if it's a good fit for you. Mike, this is the part of the show where I like to ask for last words of wisdom or advice. What would you like to leave with us today?
Well, if it's okay with you, Dan, I would love to give your audience something, if that's
Please
okay.
go ahead, give him
Yeah,
something.
so I created a free program just for you guys, kind of break it down into short little program that can build some trust between me and you as
Okay.
the audience. And it'll help you understand that what I'm doing here is not BS. I give you action items that could do it. I'm going to give you two things. The first thing is two breath work exercises,
Okay.
and I've recorded them myself. And the pranayama exercise is extremely powerful. It will alter your state like no other exercise that you've probably ever done. And then there's a grounding exercise. It can just reset your body, get negative emotions out of you, get rid of. I use it to get rid of headaches, and they're
Okay.
both really powerful. And the second thing that I want to give you is the first week of my Learn to Love Being You program, right? So I've never given this to anybody for free, but I want to give it to your audience because honestly, you are amazing and what you're doing is amazing. So if your audience is sitting here and listening, I want to kind of repay it to everyone.
I love it.
And the way that you guys could find this is to go to mwoodmindset.com /label.
Okay. Cool. I will put that in the show notes as well and on the screen here so that if they're watching, they can go ahead and go to that website and take advantage of all those free gifts. Boy, you guys are spoiled. I love it. It was so
We all
great.
got to find some peace. Let's lean on each other and let's find
Yes.
some together
World
here.
peace. And it all starts with us, right? The peace starts from with
Yes. You
Mike.
can't help anybody unless you take care of yourself first.
That's one of my mantras. Completely agree. But this has been great. I love what you're doing. I love that you're allowing people the opportunity to get away from those prescription medications that's numbing them and actually causing more harm than really good, and just giving people the tools that they need to live a better quality life because that's really what it's all about.
Yes. And you're pushing the same mission, and I commend you for everything you're doing as well. And I hope anybody that's struggling and sees this will reach out and take the first step in trying to take control of that monster we call our mind.
Yes, amen to that. You guys, this is your host, Deanna Radulescu, label free. To live your best life, you must live it label free. As always, don't forget to subscribe, follow, rate, review, comment, share, all those good things. And I'll be back soon with